So now I'd like to start my presentation titled Using AI as Social Glue to Address Social Problems. First, in Japan, there are many social problems. There is decreasing birth rate and aging population, and there is also the population in the countryside, which leads to shrink community. And related to education, in Japan there is also gender gap in STEM education. And nowadays, many Japanese are dead by overwork. Paid attention. It's called karoshi. But related to education, I would like to take an example of gender gap in STEM education, and I would like to explain why the social problems evoke and how to solve them with AI. The reason why there is social problems is the existence of the information gap. I think all of the problems have two different groups of people. First group is people who overcome problems, and the second group is of people who have not overcome problems. In the case of the gap in STEM education, the member of first group knows that engineering suits also women, but the member of second group, even if they are potentially interested in STEM, but people around them think STEM is not for women, so they don't choose to study STEM. So in order to bridge the information gap, those lacking information have to be conveyed. And then what AI can do is to identify appropriate contents to convey and identify appropriate people to convey. So now I would like to show what we have developed. It's not about directory education, but I think this topic is related to learning, so I think it is very similar topic to education. We now developing AI trying to support relocation in Japan. As I mentioned, in Japan there are many people overworking, and they want to lead slow lives in the countryside. But for urbanities, it is difficult to obtain information on rural areas. So now we developed the AI that can display day-to-day information of specific towns in the countryside and identify appropriate people to display those information. And this is the appearance of the system, but I think all of the contents in Japanese, so I would like to explain briefly in English. First, users input their own data like gender, age, job into the system, and AI segments users based on those data. And they click this button to display recommended areas. But before displaying the user, before displaying the recommended list, AI displays the critical attributes when segmenting the user and the preference of people who have similar attributes and the user own preference. Through checking them, user can check their own preference and they can adjust it. I think when people investigate some information, they have to know their own things. So this characteristic in our AI system is very critical in the displaying new information to users. And then after that, displaying details of recommended areas, and renewing the presented list, connecting, and users can adjust their preference after investigating the recommended list, or they can finish the choosing. And after that, finally, user can fill the presented form and get in touch with city officer directly. This is a point. This is my point because I think AI is true not only for analysis or searching, but also for connecting different social groups. I think this kind of characteristic in the AI system is to connect two different groups of people, first group and second group. And in this theme, people who overcome problems are people who live in the countryside, and people who have not is people live in urban areas. So we would like to develop AI engine to connect two different groups. Thank you for your attention.